Hello friends, so we are here to start with the Bible stories of page number 6. If you are in page number 6, that means that you are halfway to go. We only have 6 more pages to finish the ABC, which is great, good job. So now let's listen to the stories of this page. Story number 1 is about a tower. So one time in a city, all the people has nothing to do. I mean, they really wanted to do something to just go through the story. And they decided to build a tower, and that tower would give them the opportunity to touch the sky. Just imagine how tall that tower has to be to touch the sky. But they just put it in their heart and they started to build the tower. Their idea was to get where God was. Do you think is that possible? Well, for them it was. So they started to get ready and they start building the tower. So they put some bricks and cement and sand and lots of things that they did. They all worked super hard to finish that tower and be able to see God. So when God heard that, he said, I don't really like what these men are doing. They don't have to reach here where I am. So you know what God did? God's pretty wise and smart. And he decided not to destroy the tower or to kill the men. No, he decided to change their languages. So one man starts saying, hey, páseme la pala, por favor, páseme la pala. And the other man was like, what? I can't understand what you're saying. Hey, hello, please. So they were all using different languages. So scary, and they could not understand each other. So the building has to stop because they did not know what the other person was saying. So what they did is that they canceled the building completely, and they get united in the different languages groups. And that is how we have all the different languages around the world. Isn't that very curious? Well, something that you learned today is that all the languages around the world are different because of this tower. Long time ago, they all speak one language, but because of this tower, God decided to change the languages of all these men. And that's why we have different languages around the world. We have English, French, Italian, Portuguese, Spanish, and lots of more. So now we have the possibility of learning new languages, right? But for good purposes, not for dumb purposes like this one, to build a tower to reach God, right? So this is the story of today. And what you're going to do is to color this beautiful. Remember, do not get out of lines, but do your best coloring this picture. And the next page says, circle the real letters. Here are some symbols that are not letters. You have to circle only the letters of the alphabet. And down here, you will underline the real words. Actually, the words that are words. The ones that are not words, you will just cross them out. That way, you will be ready with the first story. Then, with the next story, I know that you know this man. This is Moses. Moses, before being the Moses that we all know, he was not very important. He was actually kind of scared of himself. He was not very secure of what he was doing. So actually, for Moses was very hard to talk. He was not good talking. He always mixed up the words. He did not say what he really wanted to say. He was pretty slow talking. So he thought that he wasn't a good person for God to use. But what he didn't know is that God was committed to use Moses for a special mission. So when Moses was walking to the desert, he saw a sage, just a normal sage, right? A bush right there. And then he saw the bush just turning in fire. What? But the bush, of course, everything that is on fire starts burning, right? Starts becoming black and burned. But this bush, no, it was all green and beautiful, but the fire was covering all the bush around. But that was pretty weird. But it was not the only weird thing that happened. At that moment, he heard a voice coming out from the bush. I don't know what about you, but I never hear a plant talking to me. That will be very scary. So Moses got very scared when he heard, Moses, Moses, coming out from the bush. Oh my gosh, that's pretty weird. And he got scared. But the only thing that he heard is, I am God. Take out your sandals. Take off your sandals because you are standing on a holy place. Of course, if a bush is talking to you and tell you to take your sandals off, what you do? Yes, take off your sandals, right? So God gave him a very important mission, and he gave him a stick. That stick was covered with God's power, and it was able to turn in serpent. Oh, wow. So God told Moses that he was the one, the chosen one, to go and save the Israelites from Egypt. So you might think that you don't have talents, or someone else has more talents than you. But something that you have to remember always is that God wants to use you. He wants to use you if you put your heart and be ready to serve the Lord, just as Moses did. And we all know all the miracles that God did through Moses because his heart was willing to serve the Lord. What we have to do in here is to color. We're going to color this picture as beautiful as you color. Then listen to this. Here, to make a burning bush. So first, you're going to color the tree yellow. The tree yellow. Then, on top of the yellow color, you're going to color the tree red. You put the red on the tree, and then we will color the tree orange. You will use 3 colors to make it look like fire. Yellow, red, and orange. And the trunk will be brown. Okay, so follow the instructions. And then to finish with this, with your pencil, you're gonna trace the lines, Moses walking stick, and then color the snake brown. And we will be done with this story. For the next story, maybe you haven't heard about this story, but we are going to learn it today. So this was Elijah. Elijah was a preacher during the Old Testament day. That means more than 2,020 years ago. That's a long time ago. So one day, God told Elijah to go to the town of Zarephath. God said to Elijah, there is a lady there who will provide for your needs. So Elijah was serving the Lord. So he didn't have a house, he didn't have a job, or he did not have food. So he was just walking and doing what God asked him to do. And at that moment, Elijah was hungry, and God said, just go to that city, and there will be one lady who will provide for your needs. And God also told her, her husband is dead, and she will give you food and a place to stay. Elijah did what God said, and he started to go to the city. When Elijah came near the city, he met a woman gathering sticks. Elijah approached the woman. Could you bring me a drink of water in a cup, please? Yes, sir, she replied. She may not have known who he was, right? But she was willing to serve and to do what he asked him to do. As she turned to get some water to Elijah, the preacher told her, "Oh, and could you please bring me a piece of bread to eat? I'm very hungry." The lady stopped. Perhaps she looked troubled or very embarrassed. "Oh, as the Lord thy God knows," she said, "I don't have anything to eat. I only have a cake of bread, and I'm a very poor lady. In fact, I have only a handful of meal and a little bit of oil for me and my son." So what the woman God had said will care for Elijah. This woman doesn't have anything to give Elijah. So Elijah told her, "Just go and do what I told you to do. God will provide." So the woman went to the kitchen and she started making some bread for Elijah. A few months with no rain, what will happen, right? Because it has so long time without raining. And what do you think that happened without rain? It will be very hot. The plants will not grow, right? So she does not have anything to eat. What do you think Elijah answered when she knew the woman had very little food? Well, "Don't be afraid," he said. "Go ahead and take that last little bit of meal and oil. Make a cake for me, then use what you have left for you and your son." So, how could that happen? It could only happen if God did it, right? Remember that when she started cooking the meal, the cake for him, the oil bottle began to be full and lots of meal get out of her basket. She has more food. How's that possible? Well, God did the miracle. The next day, the widow again made a little cake for each one of them, and there was a meal and oil left. No one in that widow's house was hungry. God worked a miracle in caring for her because she obeyed God. Now she was able to have oil and meal for everybody in the neighborhood, and she was ready to sell and make some money to buy other things. That is how God worked through this woman, because she obeyed God and she was willing to help the servant of the Lord. To finish with the page, we're going to color the lady who's cooking right here for Elijah. The next page, it says, in each row, circle the bowls that have meal in them. So you will circle only the baskets that has meal. The ones that are empty, no. And then the last page, listen to this. With your yellow crayon, you color the jug half full of oil. Only the half, not all of it, not a little bit. Half of the jar, you will color it yellow with oil. And like that, we will finish with this space. When you complete all that, we have the testing here. That is just coloring. So the first page, you're going to color right here the name of the tower that I said it at the beginning. So pay attention to the story. The page number 2, the burning bush. So you're going to guide Moses all the way through here to the burning bush. You might need your parents' help, and that's okay. And right here, you will write the following words where they belong. So widow, Elijah, jug, or cake. What has God provided to you? And to finish, we will color this beautiful picture. Right here, with the words that we have in here, you will write widow where the widow is. You will write Elijah where Elijah is. You will write jug where the jug is, and cake where the cake is. And like that, we are done with all the projection of this first quarter. Woohoo! Good job. Thank you so much for paying attention and to listen to my stories. And I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.